Hey guys, if you ever wanted to install tubeless on your clincher wheel, then this video might be helpful to you. Okay, so I'm gonna just run it down real quick. Not really gonna edit much. So I have here the 700 by 30/32 Specialize Roubaix tubeless, as you can see right here. It might have been in another video of mine comparing it, but either way, I'm gonna weigh it to kind of show that how much it weighs. And while it's doing this, I'm gonna show it's about 400 grams. So I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna install it using, first step, popping the rim tape off. Second step, using this with this rag. I would probably recommend using not this kind of rag, but like a microfiber, because it kind of tears up and stuff and gets stuck in the holes of the spokes. And next step after that, with your trusty blade, choose your tape of your choice. For me, for this 3T Discus wheel set, C35 Team Edition, this one I was, as you can see, I have the DT Swiss tubeless tape on because it's a little bit wider than the orange one right here. I'm not sure if you can tell. Probably can't tell. Maybe like a millimeter, 2 millimeters. Irregardless, the next step to getting the clincher wheel, because this is a clincher model. I know they have the new ones that are tubeless compatible, but because I don't want to spend money on these wheels, I decided to tape them up using the tape. And my next method, which is a little different from others maybe, is using this heat gun right here. I'm gonna pause the video, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the heat gun. I'm gonna start from where the hole's at, down there. I'm gonna run it around a few rounds, warm up the tape. As it's heated up, I'm gonna kind of like seat it or embed it into the rim by kind of pressing on it. It usually gets real hot, so even with these gloves on, it's pretty dangerous. So I'm gonna switch over to some cloth gloves and probably use a rag or something. All right, let's get started. All right, so I did about like probably 2 or 3 rounds. What I did was I just pretty much went the same direction that I started the tape. I normally go to the left. I'll start the, where's the hole at? I haven't poked a hole yet. It's right there. So I'll count kind of 2 spokes this way, and then I'll go counterclockwise all the way around. Sorry about the shaking. And then 2 spokes past the hole this way. And then what I didn't show was I used the heat gun here to kind of run it the same direction about 2 to 3 times to kind of get the tape to kind of not bubble up, or get rid of the bubbles if there's any bubbles. So far I know it's spinning real fast, but I don't see anything. And by the way, I forgot to mention, I'm using the feedback. It's like a truing stand. It's got the adapters for like through axle, quick release, whatever. And it can also do the disc alignment. It's not really accurate to the millimeter, but it's okay from my experience. But I'm also using it as a bonus. I'm using it as a stand to do the tape and do all that because it's kind of sturdy. I just have to kind of put my foot down to kind of prevent it from shaking. Okay, so next step is to get the blade right here. Find the hole where the valve sticks out, which is right there. Go directly above it without missing. It should be right about right here. And then just quickly jab it. All right, guys, I decided to go with the American Classics stem, the little valve stem deal right here. Make sure you, for the 3T Discus, make sure you have this rubber piece right here. And this is the stands one. It doesn't really work with the stands not saying it can't, but because the stands does have this little black cap that can kind of twist based off the direction of the rim, this wheel is actually like kind of offsetted. So the spokes, you can't really tell from here, but the spokes like aren't really exactly in the middle throughout the wheel to kind of create some kind of stiffness, I guess. But either way, this rubber piece that comes with the wheel, it should look like this. And with it installed, the next step is to throw on the tire and put some sealant in it. Alright, so it's all set up. Let me just kind of give it a quick spin before I inflate it to determine the amount of pour. Usually each bottle has like a little direction, like how you see here. Actually, is there an English one? There it is. So it will kind of tell you how much you need to pour and what to do. You can follow these steps. It's pretty helpful. So let's spin it and then pump it up. Alright, as you can see, this is my pump right here. It's just a cheap Bell Air Glide. It has the PSI and it's holding at 24. So what I do is I normally pour, I don't measure it that consistently, but I usually pour like about 6 ounces to kind of start it off. If I need more, I'll add more. Sometimes if you pump, you might have, or I think this is the reason why some people have issue, even myself. I moved it to a darker area only so you can see the display of the air pressure. It's not quite pumped up yet, but anyways. Sometimes you got to pump it like straight, like imagine this is like a clock. I pump it at 6 o'clock. It might not work. Sometimes you got to, after spinning it, in this case I had to move it to about 3 o'clock and I was able to pump it. Sometimes you might have to be 12 o'clock, whatever, you know. Just kind of move it around, because I noticed like a lot of videos, people don't really do that. They just kind of leave it in one spot. They use their master blaster and they just like hit a switch, bam, and then nothing happens, you know, and it ends up being a failure. So this is a good tip to give it a shot if you're going to go tubeless on a clincher. This pretty much concludes the video. Oh, as you can see, I pressed it so air is coming out, but I haven't embedded it yet, but then this will pretty much conclude the video, because as you can see, I'm just gonna finish off by pumping it up. And then you might hear like the bead pop maybe. The Specialize Roubaix, they recommend pressures from 40 to 90. So I'm gonna leave it like around 80 for now. That might be too high still, considering the volume of this tire. It's a pretty big tire. So as you can see, I'm about at 66, 65. I'll go to 70 and then I'll end the video with a final thought. Whew, using one hand, it's pretty tough. Irregardless, it pretty much bedded in, and go ahead, just pop it out. And I just want to show that it's possible to do clincher with tubeless. Oh, not saying that you need these fancy tools or anything like that. You know, I did it with just a basic, you know, pump. And I'll make a concluding video actually with the other wheel that's already all mounted. And that way you could kind of see that it's possible to do tubeless conversion, like I mentioned. And maybe you might need something like this, or you might have this around, or maybe you just need to turn the wheel a certain way to kind of get it to set and pump up. And like I said, if it's not airing up after spinning it and all that, you might have to add a little bit more fluid to kind of keep it I guess sealed. As you can see, I did not use any soap or any master blaster pump, just a cheap pump, anything like that to air this up and to mount it. I didn't need to use anything like that. All right, that should be it. If there's any questions, go ahead, let me know, fill it in. I'll see what I can do to help out and make sure everyone kind of tries out the tubeless deal while it's still a thing to try out. And here it is, GT grade SRAM Force 22 with the tires on. It's got a 1128 cassette, SRAM red cassette, 4628 chainring custom, and a few other things, but I'll leave it at that for now.